Thank you, Jessica and Sean, again for the icebreaker this morning. Now, we're following up with our last meeting where we met off-site at the Manhattanville Community Center, and many of you joined us, so that was great. And I think it gave us a chance to really see some of the great programming in action and what we're doing, particularly with Cornerstone. So for those who joined us, thank you again. So today, I just want to quickly go around the table. I'm seeing a few people who I haven't seen in a while here, and that's great. If you could just introduce yourself and say a few things about who you are, and I would also like to do another icebreaker, is say something about who you are and why you chose what you chose this morning to put on your body. One item, one choice. I'm going to start with you, Reggie.
Good morning, my name is Reggie Miller. Correction to the directory thing. I'm no longer at the Office of the Appellate Defender. I'm at Neighborhood Defender Services of Harlem now, social worker there. In terms of why I put on my body, what I put on my body, it's what I first picked up this morning. It's where we went.
Good morning, I'm Jeanette Rodriguez. I am with Nike, and what I chose to put on my body today is Air Max 1. So for the month of March, we celebrate Air Max, so we celebrate air, and so I chose the Air Max 1 this morning.
Hi, I'm Nancy Wagstein. Well, I thought I should not wear jeans. So I just thought, even though I've been wearing jeans almost exclusively since the beginning of the pandemic and since I retired, so I thought I'd go one step up, so I put on corduroy jeans to show my respect for the youth board.
Thanks, Nancy. I'm Liz Kritz. I work at UBS as a philanthropic advisor, and I chose to put flats on today because I'm going to be running around the city, back up to work, and around town. So I want to be comfortable.
It's going to rain.
And it's going to rain, yes.
Good morning, everyone. I chose what I chose, one, because I have to go back to work, and I have to look formal, and two, because my daughter told me this is what you have to wear. Thank you.
Good morning, Adolfo Casillas, Mayor's Office of Talent and Workforce Development, and I chose this tie because I like blue and it has flowers, and I think flowers make people happy.
All right.
Hi, I'm Sarah Marks. I'm DYCD's Director of Intergovernmental Affairs. I chose this jacket this morning because since the pandemic, I pretty much have like 2 jackets, and this one was the most weather appropriate, and it was pink.
Good morning, everyone. Greg Hambrick, Director of Talent Acquisition for Warner Music Group. I'm tired of wearing sweaters, V-necks, and all of that stuff, so I threw on a collar knit dress shirt today. That's the only reason I put this on.
I'm Chrissy Sudano. I work at the Carson Family Trust, and I chose this jacket because since the pandemic, it's one of the few I can button.
Hi, good morning. I'm Jordana Lee. I work at Lincoln Center, and I am dressed for heading to the South right after this meeting. So, yeah, I'm going down to visit friends down in Atlanta and then keep going south.
So hello everyone, my name is Saeed Fulam. I'm a new new DYCD board member. I'm also part of the Queens General Assembly. I chose this as attire today because I want to be formal, be professional as a board member.
I am Chris Passardi with Barrow Strategies. I chose what I wore today because it's like the light color, like thick, so it's like that March.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Ibube Weme from NBSK, my brother sister keepers youth council. I chose what I wore this morning because I feel comfortable in it, and it kind of represents who I am and how I dress on a regular, so,
I think I left myself out. I put on these glasses this morning because I have a lot of pairs of glasses. That's one of my obsessions, just like shoes. I should probably show you my shoes too. So those are two. I guess, I don't know, I just wanted to look a little 70s today. I kind of rocked the look this morning. I'm not quite sure why, but I felt it. I felt the disco age this morning. All right, so thank you so much for participating in that, introducing yourself, and welcome to our new members to the table, actually. This is the first time you actually are sitting here. I want to first go through some board business. Did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes from the last board meeting? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes and accept it? 2? Great. Motion, minutes adopted. Thank you. And for our next item, I'd like to confirm Abube's appointment to the executive committee as a youth engagement officer. Would you like to say a few things about what you hope to do?
Thanks, Jackie. Hi everyone, good morning again. My name is Ebube Weme. I want to say a big thank you to members of the youth board for voting me or just even electing me into this position as a youth engagement officer. I go back to when I first joined the board, and it was like, all I do DYCD has a youth board, and it was like, well, is there any youth on the board actually? So joining the board was coming from a point of you having youth representation on the youth board, and that's something I'm really passionate about. So being part of the youth board for the past couple of years and now being in this position as a youth engagement officer, it means a great deal for myself, and also to keep advancing the future of youths across New York City in any way I can help. So hopefully this gives me more range to be more impactful, to give youth a better seat at the table, and to also uplift our voices in important spaces. So once again, thank you all so much, and I'm excited to be in this position.
Great, thank you so much. All right. Now the next item is if you got a chance to look at the new directory update, and if there are any changes, please let us know. However, this will be going up on our website as well, without your contact information. Is that right? Okay, great. Now for our next item, I'm going to hand it over to Eduardo, and he'll be updating us on the appointments to the board.
Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Eduardo Boygan. I facilitate the activities of the New York City Youth Board. Thank you, Bube. Hello. Yes, primarily I want to give you an update on the board vacancies. I stepped into this role early last year, and one of the things that I noticed was that there in fact was a lot of board vacancies. I came to appreciate the steps necessary to fill the board. I thought it was as simple as, hey, we have X amount of vacancies, let's go, and identify outstanding candidates. We were able to identify outstanding candidates, however that first process was a little more complex than thought. The structure of the board is for 28 members, up to 28 members, of 14 of which are appointed by the mayor's office. The balance of that 14 is appointed by the city council. The mayor's office has in fact filled all slots. The last 2 appointments were Saif and Chrissy, and that was done in November of last year. The other side of the board, which is the council appointee side, has 10 vacancies. We were successfully able to share with them 10 outstanding candidates that did reflect a different demographic, a little bit younger, and primarily ready to go, enthusiastic. Unfortunately, however, we came to appreciate that the city council has to recommend that. I've been in my contact with my liaison at the mayor's office of appointments specifically for that purpose, and they have in fact been working on it. Unfortunately, however, not to our satisfaction, not to the satisfaction of the board. So one of the things we're looking to do now, because the board has expressed a desire to complete all appointments, is to have our legislative office get involved. Commissioner has now asked our legislative office, Sarah Marks, who sits in these meetings with us, is part of that team, and they will in fact make a concerted effort to fill these appointments. From what I understand, the Speaker of the City Council has urged all youth and other committee members to do appointments. We also are missing some appointments on the Neighborhood Advisory Board that DYCD administers, and that's on a citywide board and what have you. So unfortunately, the wheels of government are a little slower than we would like. I myself thought we would have a complete board by the end of last year. A rude awakening hit me. So right now, we're at the stage where our Legislative Affairs Office will be in contact with the Mayor's office, specifically with the intention of having them finish those appointments. We have 10 outstanding candidates. One of the fears we have is that some of those individuals may drop out in the process. So hopefully by the end of this fiscal year, I'm trying to quantify that by giving us a little bit more time to get this done. And maybe by the annual meeting in September, we can have a full board. That's the current update. Is there any questions in relation to that? Yes, Nancy.
Some of us had recommended, many months ago now, some people we thought would be good. Are you going to forward those names to the city council?
The way it works, Nancy, and I'm sorry, I just heard your question. I'll repeat the question. She wants to know if any candidates that have been submitted will be, in fact, passed on to the mayor's office. The way it works, Nancy, is that there's a couple of vetting processes. Okay, we interview them first and foremost. We engage them. We get their resumes. We get to know them. We then vet them internally within DYCD's legal unit. And then there's a second tier of vetting which takes place at the Department of Investigation. The names that we have submitted have in fact gone through those processes. The next step, which is mayoral appointments, city council appointments, are yet to happen. So to suggest that all the names we receive have been forwarded, that isn't quite the case. We received a total of initially about 22 names. Currently that's been narrowed down to 10. And again, they had to have gone through the other steps in the process, internal vetting at DYCD, and then the Department of Investigation. And then those candidates that emerge from those tiers will then are the ones that are currently at the mayor's office.
Yeah, but that's the mayor's office, but will you forward those names with those that have passed office? Will you forward those names to the city council?
Yes. Well, no, they're forwarded to the mayor's office of appointments, who then works with the city council's office of appointments. And that's where the holdup is right there. Those two offices interact with one another. And, you know, we've been obviously pushing the buttons to get it done, not to anybody's satisfaction. And now we're going to make a concerted effort through our office, Legislative Affairs Office, to try to get these folks to talk to one another. And again, it's not limited to just this board. The neighborhood advisory boards are also being held by this process. And, you know, it's a shame because we obviously have some outstanding candidates that we want to see move forward. And that's where we are right now, unfortunately. Yes, Liz?
First of all, Eduardo, thank you for everything that you've done, because I know you put so much effort into this for a year. If there is just a letter that DYCD wants to draft for us to sign, you know, a positive letter, but that the board is in support of anything that to whichever office we should send it to, I know a lot of us would put our signature to that to encourage movement, so just please consider that.
Thank you, Liz. I did bring that up to Commissioner Howard. Commissioner Howard is equally as frustrated with the slow process, and at this point, his first course of action was to engage his Office of Legislative Affairs to handle that matter, and hopefully we will not need to resort to that point, but we definitely have shared that as a possibility. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Christian, for the update. This past Sunday, I went to the borough president's state of the borough address, and I saw a couple of council members, and they asked me about this board, and they told me that they're very interested in filling out all the positions. You know, apparently they have been discussing this, so you know, I'm happy to see that you're giving us an update. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, and that is the word that they are getting around to filling these appointments. Again, the wheels of government unfortunately move a little slower than we would like. Thank you for that update. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just for clarity, Eduardo, so we can't have direct, or the board and yourself and the commissioner cannot have direct appointments for these last 10, right? And that's where that is where it is currently blocked. Correct. It's not what we're doing here.
Right. No, absolutely not. The New York City Charter specifically spells out the roles, and it's intended to obviously have both components of government, the mayor's office, and the city council support the initiatives of the New York City Board, and specifically appoint the members. and unfortunately that needs to obviously be looked at.
Great, thank you so much. We're going to move on. I feel like we're kind of going through this rather quickly. Liz, are you leaving us?
Not yet.
You're getting ready. I'm glad you have your shoes on already. So during the month of February, we got a chance to talk to some of you one-on-one, and Liz was able to join some of those meetings, and Eduardo was with me for all of them. And we actually gathered a lot of information that was really great. And one of them, kind of the general feeling that we got was board members want to be much more involved in understanding certain areas of what the suite of programming we're doing, as well as how we're doing it and how we can influence what is going on. And to be able to also lend our expertise to the whole process and understanding it. So we have reflected on it and have come up with a few ways for us to be much more involved as a board and also as members. And first we will be looking at opportunities that Eduardo has put together, and then we'll be going into talking about some of the subcommittees as a way for us to move forward. So, Eduardo, do you want to introduce those engagement opportunities first?
Sure, thank you very much, Jackie. Primarily what we looked at is a board that's full of talented individuals that obviously have impact in the community, and we certainly wanted to bring that to the board here. In essence, we've identified a couple different areas, some of which you're familiar with. We clearly develop young people. We clearly have a lot of youth programming. And one of the things we'd love to do is give young people an opportunity to have real life work experience. You're very familiar with our Summer Youth Employment Program, very familiar with our Latitude Leaders, and we do have a robust workforce development program. And we have a lot of young people that are eager and interested in taking the next steps in their journey. Obviously, we would love to see some of these young people placed in meaningful work-related experiences. The program is such that DYCD does cover the salary of these young folks, so it's basically asking you to support a young person by giving them a viable work experience. Obviously, young people are eager and they learn. And the truth of the matter is many are impacted by those experiences and may pursue careers in the areas that they're experiencing. I myself was an intern at the state legislature. Here I am 25 years later working for government. So it's clear that there's a nexus between our individual experiences as we evolve. So we would love to have the board consider some of those opportunities, whether it be one individual per se at your office, or some of you may be able to accommodate others. And the value of this is that DYCD workforce programs are not throughout the year, not just limited towards the summer. So perhaps some parts of the year are better. So we'd love for you to consider that. Another area that you're very familiar with is the RFP process. We obviously issue RFPs. We need to evaluate these RFPs. As you can imagine, the funding cycle is very competitive and organizations are doing outstanding work. So we literally have to start splitting hairs. The truth of the matter is we love fresh set of eyes, and I know that's a commitment that many of you may or may not be able to ascertain. However, we would work with you. If you could only read 5 proposals, we'd love to have you consider that. And the value of that is very interesting for those of you who have read proposals. I myself have done it. You do feel you have significant responsibility with making a determination. And of course, you want to take into consideration all the features that make a successful program. You obviously are part of organizations that are very successful and could appreciate emerging organizations and could help us to evaluate those that can adhere to the confines of the contract that we look to administer. So that's another opportunity. Hosting a meeting just like this. The truth of the matter is we want to jazz it up. They get stagnated seeing the same room over and over and over and over. So we're trying to shift. DYCD has the luxury of having 2 meeting sites. We've used the 2 Lafayette location. We've used this one. And again, there are challenges to those. We did visit the Manhattanville Community Center. Thank you, Jessica, for setting that up. And the truth of the matter, that was amazing. Just being out there, seeing the young people, they really invigorated us. For those of you who went, I'm sure that's the feeling you walked away with. And it does make it a real life experience, not just a program that you read about. So we do want to have these meetings taken out I know 1 or 2 members have already committed to possibly hosting a future meeting, but it's not limited to just board meetings. As we all know, Jordana, and I'm sorry for using your name over and over as it relates to Step It Up, but Jordana has hosted winners of our Step It Up contest and will be doing so again this year. And again, that is impactful for young people. One day we might read or hear about a future artist that got their start in Step It Up at Lincoln Center. So things like that are very impactful and meaningful. We'd love for you to consider hosting either a meeting, a DYCD program, and then of course there's other. I think I'm losing this, but I'm loud enough that I can speak. And then of course the other area has to do, there are 2 other areas. One is any funding commitments that anybody can make to the city fund to help development of youth programs. And then the last area, I'm sorry, I referred to my notes here. It's always something. Seems to have gotten lost in my notes. I apologize. Sorry.
Might have to make at Waters, don't forget to pull the sheet, the folder.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a sheet to fill
Okay,
out.
it looks, thank you for that. It does look like I did cover all the ground. What we will do is that we will follow up with you. I know some of you. So, yeah, I know some of you have already met with Jackie and identified areas that you can support, and we certainly will pursue that. Those of you who are interested in pursuing one of those other areas will certainly reach out to you and look to make that match. And by all means, I want you to understand that your power is immense, not just in the organization that you serve and represent, but clearly the impact that you can have on youth development. As a matter of fact, Commissioner Howard, who will be joining us momentarily, was an SYP participant. I was an SYP participant. And it is clear that all young people need a guiding hand to take the next steps in their journey. And I am pretty clear that everybody in this room can serve in that regard, so I would hope you consider that. Thank you so much, and we'll follow up with you.
Thank you so much. So just very quickly, I actually have a question about the SYEP and the Ladders program. If you can describe a little bit about how young people are matched so that we understand, and then maybe when they can start. You said that we could start at different times, so that, because I would like to encourage everyone to really consider being a mentor in a way.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, there are various criteria by which how young people get placed. The traditional SYP, which is young people applying for a summer job, is basically a lottery-based system. Young people are chosen in that manner, and community providers are identified that can give them that work experience. The second tier of SYP is Ladder for Leaders. These are a little bit more polished individuals. We recognize that there's a big difference between a 14-year-old and a 24-year-old. So obviously a 24-year-old may already have some experience, some work-related experiences, and they're looking for the next steps in their journey. In that regard, we try to make a more conducive match in terms of professional settings for them. We teach them resume building. We teach them how to properly dress, attire, and we set them up for those type of organizational settings. Other programs in workforce development look to really meet the young person where they are. Our Intern and Earn program is such that we try to meet young people where their interests are. So if a young person tells us they want to be an attorney, we would look to match them up with a legal office. If a young person tells us they want to be a chef, we would look to make that type of placement as well. So there is a lot of thought into these placements, but of course we want them to be very successful. And the truth of the matter is some organizations out there have taken advantage of this, as many should. Some of the pharmaceutical companies in the city, Dwayne Reed and the like, have hired our young people because they look at it as a valuable training program. They bring in a dozen young people for the summer that we pay. They get to evaluate that, they get to appreciate that, and as a result of that, they look to hire some of these young people. So we do look to try to make matches that would lead to other possibilities, because I know that's important to you, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also to be aware that it does go up to 24, age 24, so we're looking at older individuals as well. All right, and then just very quickly, if you can fill out the sheets and kind of let us know what you're thinking about so that Eduardo could then follow up with you more directly. That,
no place for the names.
yeah, put your name on top. So that we can contact you. So I want to go into the subcommittees now. So we've actually targeted 2 areas for a subcommittee, and what we're hoping for is to bring together between 4 to 6 members for each committee to look at 2 areas. One is workforce, to really gather information and perhaps data around what's going on in how the programming, the suite of programs are kind of scaffold towards preparing young people for actually the SYEP opportunities. And how is it being done? Or is it? And also hearing from young people what that experience looked like for them. So that's one committee. The other is to really ask our service providers what they need in terms of leveraging what they're doing, the funding that they're able to get from DYCD, and also within their community. So that would be another committee to kind of investigate what's going on in the field. So again, we're looking for 4 to 6 members from the board to participate in each of the subcommittees. They will meet once a week. No, I'm sorry, once a month. Sorry, once a week is a lot. I don't even think I could do that. Once a month, and kind of have direct Eduardo in terms of who we would like to see, hear from, and also to be able to report back during our quarterly meeting to the greater board. What we hope to do at the end of this year, this calendar year, is come up with a kind of a list of recommendations for the commissioner to consider and appreciate. I think, I'm hoping that we will be able to really, again, dig a little bit deeper, to be much more engaged, and to really learn and educate ourselves as to what is happening. And then apply our thoughts and expertise to the youth programming and what's happening in our city. So thank you, Raymond, for agreeing to be on both of the subcommittee. I cheer that and applaud it. So I think if you're interested, Eduardo, how would you like us to proceed?
Thank you. By all means, we will certainly follow up with each of you. We identified the 2 committees specifically. And in terms of meeting, we recognize you're really busy people, so we do not want to impact on that. We tend to meet noonish time, lunchish time. We're going to meet once a month, and we'll certainly meet at your ability to do so. Virtually, that's correct. That'll be via Zoom. We can limit it as little as 30 minutes to an hour, depending on your schedules. And we're basically looking for 4 or 5 per committee. I would certainly coordinate the meetings for the balance of the year. I will also identify any presenters you would like to bring in that you want to hear from, whether they be DYCD programs, whether they be outside sources or experts in the field, and to inform the committee's work. And then, of course, as Jackie indicated, we'd like to be able to develop a set of recommendations. Now, in terms of the rest of the year, we're obviously heading into April. That means a quarter of the year is already down for already 12th, 3rd. So we will be talking about meeting approximately 3 to 5 times, and then hopefully that'll be enough time as necessary, and we can schedule them thereafter. And again, noonish time, once a month, towards the end of the month.
That's great. And if the committee feels that they need more time, I think we could also arrange it. But that is the base commitment for each committee. And you will be sending out an email. Great, thank you. That concludes our portion of board. The board's business. Would anyone like to share some thoughts about the committees, or if I didn't get a chance to meet with you, if you would like to share your thoughts as well? And we're waiting for the commissioner at this time to do his report. Yes, Raymond.
Oh, okay. I don't mind doing that. Is that better? Yeah. So I just wanted to add, for folks who don't know, I'm very soon to work with DCS. But Jackie, myself, and Eduardo had a great meeting. And I just wanted to make a comment that I think is very important about preparing young people for programming. So because in the ACS realm, you've been in workforce as long as I have been in the city for at least 2 decades. ACS has never been part of the careers in the landscape, right? And we've always been sort of put to the side. But there are resources in ACS that can be leveraged to make this whole system one big continuum. And we leverage a lot of programs with DYCD.
Good morning,
What we
Commissioner.
haven't done until now is prepare young people for the internships at DYCD, nor have we been like a big part of it, right? And now that we are having those conversations, I think it's a great opportunity for us to leverage. We have training grants that can contribute to ITAs that HRA does, that ITGs, that SBS does. We have now Fear Futures Coach, a $30 million program that ensures every young person has a coach, a mentor, and somebody to help them engage and complete. Other people can take advantage of that. And we also have programming for work sites. ACS is huge, so we offer probably too little work sites for the SYP program. But if we had all of our 25 foster care agencies offering 1 or 2 sites, we could absorb a lot more. And those young people could be doing work right in their agencies where they're familiar with the staff, familiar with the community. It just would be a nice continuum. So I just wanted to add to what you were saying, Jackie, because I think that's a critical, gap that we could fill in this committee. And it really will go a long way in the search.
Great, thank you so much for adding that. I hope that makes, and say, thank you.
Yes, that's fine. So we have a lot of outside. So they accept people that were 18 or over. We have a youth counselor as well, and a lot of that as well. So volunteers seem to be important because we used to be able to from the workforce we can educate parents who work about
Yeah, well, I think those are great ideas, and I hope you'll join, consider the subcommittee for it, because you're right, volunteering is work experience. It's also a great way to explore what you might be interested in, and it's also another way to be involved in government and community civic, engagement. So these are all things we're hoping to build out, make things, investigate how we could make things more seamless, really look at the entire trajectory of a young person from the time that they enter a Cornerstone program or a Beacon program, and then how they might be able to optimize their opportunity in this way.
If I may, Saeed, thank you so much for your comments. As you know, we have a brand new beautification office at the table. We're very delighted to have them. And one of the courses of action we're going to look is to have civic engagement opportunities for young people, not only to identify them, but the step-by-step mechanism. We're a young man that obviously went through those processes after the live practice doing the board. So he'll be leading our charge in terms of engaging young people and learning about these opportunities. So we would love to include them now.
Really good. Nice.
And that, any other comments, thoughts? All right, great. With that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Howard.
Is working?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sean, is this really important that I use this?
Yes.
I can project.
I believe you.
Oh, okay.
For the video.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I just want to just acknowledge and appreciate that Jackie has stepped up into this new role, and this is the first time we're co-chairing together, you know. I got you, you got me, I got you, okay. So it's just gonna bring some new energy. I just want to thank the former chair, Elizabeth, for holding it down for so many years. I mean, she was magnificent and amazing, and I think she's traveling, right?
She was here earlier, but she had to depart.
She had to depart, okay, okay. So we're going to acknowledge her very soon and give her, don't tell her, something to honor her for her tenure as chair. So as soon as that lands, we're gonna, the next convening, we're gonna make sure that we tell her how much we appreciate her and what she was able to do right here. So just a little shopkeeping that I wanted to mention. All right, so we are having problems, which is not unusual for most of the city agencies, is filling the appointments. Yeah, we have roughly about 10 vacancies.
That's correct.
All on the council side. We have been making inroads to make sure that they are priority, but we're no different from any other city agencies who's also having problems as well. We're going to continue to do our best to make sure that there's a full complement of board members so that we can get to the business of meeting and convening and just putting off our youth agenda in many ways. So as I say to others, just bear with the city. This is a highly bureaucratic government, and we're going to get there. The good thing is that with some of your input, we've reshaped the board in the sense that we're bringing on more young people to guide us in some of the decision making that we need to have. So that is always rewarding, right? As we hear the young people and their voice and be able to shape policy and in some way from some of the policies of the past to uplift and to build on those. And also to mentor them as well and guide them through, you know, being a board member and dealing with the responsibilities thereof. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the possibilities. And I'm excited about the opportunities that they're going to have actually sitting on a functional board. So again, hopefully we're going to land that relatively soon. And the mayor's office of appointment will be able to clear them. I understand that the board will be developing committees to identify areas of possible enhancement to DYCD program. I welcome hearing any thoughts you may have on further developing youth programming. So I want to be part and sit into some of those committees because I would like to hear what's coming out of those committees as well. I'm a very engaged commissioner. And I also want to make sure that the committees have access to our providers and our partners out there so that you can see exactly what's happening on the ground. It's very, very important that we don't operate in an Eiffel Tower, that we're actually seeing, talking, and experiencing young people, and also just not young people, but our whole program across the board, and that you're engaged. So I'll be talking with Aguado and the leadership team about providing connections and events and just, you know, doing, making you a part of focus groups that are going on in DYCD so you can see, hear, and take it back to your committee members. I think that level of engagement is going to be just fantastic for everybody. So what, the next step is to read the report, right?
Yes, any highlights, Commissioner, you'd like to share?
Yeah, so let's talk about the report, because I don't want to read it verbatim because it's already in your pamphlet and I don't want to waste any more of your time. But there's a couple of areas that I want to highlight. March 22nd is the preliminary budget hearing for DYCD. So I will be testifying along with members of the senior staff on the budget, the FY25 budget. I will have Iguado send out a link so that you can see exactly how the testimony is and the questions that are coming from the council. I'm pretty sure, based upon my previous experience from last year, it's going to be very spirited. All right. And they have a lot of questions, and hopefully we have the answers to it. But Chair Stevens, Althea Stevens, who runs the youth committee for the council, and now it's called the Youth Committee, and what is the new name? The the Council Committee on Children and Youth. So their powers have expanded. So March 22nd is where we're supposed to be testifying. We had a amazing job fair. One of the first that has happened in my tenure and in previous tenure, because the job fair specifically targeted justice-involved youth. It was a idea that came across through some of the meetings that we had with the senior staff, and it was basically, hey, you know what? There's a lot of job opportunities out there with our providers, and how do we connect those justice-involved young people to these jobs? We did a survey, and the survey was very clear. The community-based organizations had a hard time filling basic jobs like outreach worker or activity specialist, maintenance jobs. So we have a contract, and I spoke about this contract before, called Precision Employment Initiative. It's with an organization called Black Power. That contract migrated over when we talked about the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice and those programs coming over to DYCD. And that program specifically deals with justice-involved youth from 18 to 30. And, you know, you're 30, you're not youth, but it depends on how you see it. But, you know, I think I'm youthful, you know. But that program, and we were able to isolate and identify some young people who went to the job fair. There were 400 jobs that was open and available. And these young people came. We had workshops. We had resume building workshops. We also had some of the city agencies there, like social services, to be able to offer benefits and opportunity. DCAS was there talking about civil service and how you can get a city job. I'm waiting for the report from my team to basically inform us exactly how many actually landed in jobs, and I'll be happy to report that back to the board. And we're looking to do more of those for the targeted population. Community development. The RFP for the new 3-year literacy service contract was released January 9th. With responses due by March 20th. So this is the adult literacy RFP. There were a lot of excitement about the RFP, and there were a lot of criticism about the RFP. And, you know, the excitement being the fact that this RFP has not been issued since Bloomberg administration. Okay. So, you know, we were very happy to be able to get this out because, of course, the program model changed. And the engagement And I think most of the stakeholders, they understand, but some members of the public need to be more educated, and some of the elected officials need to be more educated on the process, right? So first we release, as everyone knows, a concept paper, all right? This is the concept paper. This is the opportunity to give us feedback. Tell us exactly what your thoughts are. Tell us exactly what the funding should be and the funding level. We go back and forth with your comments, and then we land it in a request for proposal, an RFP, and that goes out. This RFP was very intentional because we added a qualifier and a new methodology that looked at the highest poverty levels in the city. And we said, okay, we're going to concentrate this contract on the highest poverty levels, and we want to hear and see proposals. How are we going to address these poverty levels? And as we know, that poverty since Bloomberg has shifted. You know, some communities are struggling more than others. So as a part of our equity statement and part of the new laws that came out of the, the charter revision, is that city agencies need to focus in on inequities and inequities in communities. Right? Can't argue that. Resources should go to the communities who need them the most. And of course, we had pushback from some of the advocates and some of the electeds because some of the providers who had their programs in certain parts of the community were not associated, those programs were not associated in the poverty areas that we're looking to invest in. But what the RFP also indicated was you can move your program. If you're a successful awardee, you can move your program into those poverty areas, and guess what? We're also paying the lease. So there's some pushback to that, but we're guided by certain principles, and certain principles are that we're an agency that deals with, and a board that deals with levels of poverty, and we believe that programs should be in areas where it's most needed. Yes?
So if you were a citywide organization that runs programs in all different neighborhoods and boroughs and things like that, you had a program in what was defined as a high poverty district, are you eligible? I mean, let's say your headquarters is, 120 Williams Street. You're running the program,
Let's say Brownsville, or South Bronx.
right. Does that make you eligible?
Everyone can submit a proposal. Nothing excludes you from submitting a proposal. It's just that we want to make sure that if your headquarters is in an area that is, and you expect the attendees or the clients to travel all the way down to 123, that's not what we feel should be addressing the heart of the issue. We feel that programs should be moving to those areas, and we had to make that very, very clear. Programs should go to where the poverty is and address those, but we don't exclude any organization from submitting proposals to be able to address those areas. Yeah.
Maybe I missed this, but have you made those awards?
No. Where the 20th is where we're supposed to be receiving, and it's in the minutes when we were receiving the awards. And I'm pretty sure, and I got to check with our accounting office, but you may be asked to read some of the awards, the award proposals.
I just want to clarify, so you could be headquartered in area, but the areas of impact have to be in those most highly.
Absolutely, right.
Impact and programming itself.
Yes, and program itself, yeah. Yes. So we all know, because we're all in this business to some degree, and we know that some institutions, if they've had this contract for years, they're entrenched, right? And they may feel that, hey, I don't want to move, but I don't think that they're looking at the totality of this person who needs to have this service. You require them to get a Metro card and be on the bus or the train for whatever to travel that distance, and I don't think that's equitable. So you're going to hear a lot of noise, and it's going to come at the city council hearing, and we're going to talk about it, but we're very firm that our contracts, especially those that haven't been procured in a long time, has to have an equitable distribution. Again, not excluding anyone to do that, and making sure that some of the basic elements of a contract can be paid for, like a lease and utilities and office. And then it only highlights the investment in the community, right? So if I have a nonprofit organization, I'm at 123, and I need to go to the South Bronx, me having a satellite office or opening up an office in the South Bronx, it brings more resources to that community. So, but again, I look forward to some robust conversation on it. So this just puts us in line to our Compass Sonic, which is our after-school RFP concept paper that's going to come out relatively soon. All right, and we're trying to land it where the budgetary situation that we talked about in previous meetings, where our Office of Management and Budget is going to allow us to increase the awards for that, so that we call it the per pupil participation rate is higher. Now, here we go again with the same scenario that this RFP and concept paper has not been out for at least 12 years. So previous administrations have just keep extending it. So it gives us a real opportunity to shape what a new model, after-school model, look like, right? To have some of the basic elements, and we know that young people are suffering with mental health and trauma, right? So this RFP, this concept paper, will have that. We need to concentrate on young people when it comes to reading, and it will have that as well. There will be an academic component to it as well. So it allows us to build in and reshape the program model, and then ask our partners, community-based partners, okay, what do you think this program would cost? And that is dialogue between the concept paper and being able to fund it at the level that that should be funded at. The Compass Sonic program, the after-school program, is our largest contract. So we're doing a lot of stakeholder engagement. Outside of releasing the concept paper yet, we're meeting with our community partners, people who've had the contract, people who haven't had the contract. We're getting their input, their buy-in. I met recently with our deputy mayor, Anna Amazon, and we presented it, the concept and to the mayor, and we let the mayor know that this is coming up. It has come up at some of our town hall meetings. When is it going to come up? And the mayor was very, very clear on who should have voices here. So he wanted to make sure that we created a focus group of young people to talk about the different programs that are going to be offered in the concept paper. So we are, and we have been creating focus groups of young people, bringing them in, Of course, feeding them, that's very important. And then giving them an incentive like a gift card of $50, to give us your input, to provide that. And I think that's going to be very valuable and very rewarding, especially the feedback that's going to happen from that. Yeah.
Do you expect that the after-school or PEs will be funded at the same level as currently, or do you have to wait for the budget process?
When the concept paper goes out, it has to have a per pupil funding source, right? Let me see how I can say this delicately. It's probably going to come out with the same PPP, but it won't land at the same PPP. Does that make sense? No? Okay.
A little too subtle for me.
Okay. We're required to have a PPP there on the concept paper. We've engaged our stakeholders. They know what they want the funding to be at. We've also talked with our budget. Thank you. We also talked with our budget team at City Hall, and they have an idea on where they want to fund it at. So it's all about developing the sweet spot on exactly where we should land. And right now, based upon when we release it and the feedback we're going to get, I have a high level of confidence that it's going to land somewhere in the middle. So if we were offering, and I'm just making up numbers, if we were, concept paper goes out as $2, and the stakeholders and the advocacy groups want it at $7, we're going to have to find a sweet spot between that $2 and $7. And that's going to be a lot of give and take based upon exactly what services are going to be in the concept papers. Yeah. So, and that's going to be interesting. Did I satisfy the liberal answer? It is a process. And we're very cautious about the city's fiscal condition. That was what was holding it back. But everybody has read that, the budget cuts for the last round has been waived for all of the city agencies, including us. Now, with the budgetary hearings, we'll see whether or not the cuts that was part of the last two pegs will be restored. So, all right, so we're hoping that's the case. Okay, so moving on. Some other high-level conversations that we've been having. Of course, we just launched the application for summer youth employment. 100,000 slots, 100,000 young people. We've extended the application deadline from March 1st to March 15th. So we're excited about that. So far, we've received about 145,000 applications already. Last year, we had 176,000 applications. So this program is one of the signature programs of DYCD and the city, and it provides so much relief and experience and career experience to young people. But we also are mindful that there's going to be a segment of the population that's not going to get employed, right? We're looking to see how we can go to our federal partners and with a proposal to see if one day we can get to a point where every young person who wants a job can get a job. Yeah. Right now, we at least 75–80%, and I'm being loose with my percentages. The SYP is funded with city tax levy money. Very small percentage from federal funding. It was a disinvestment back in I think it was the 90s or the 80s. Yeah, back in the day, they disinvested themselves out of summer youth, and they asked the cities to fund it. And we need to circle back, and we're putting together a team and a proposal, which I will share with the board on that push. And if we can get there, it would be great for young people, because we would have to go through an application process, but we can ensure that people who want a job gets a job. That's a good thing. The other application that just launched this week is Summer Rising. That's our version of summer camp. And that's 110 young people going to free summer camp for the summer. Another robust program we thought that program was in jeopardy, but the mayor, with the budget director, was able to fund $80 million of that, and in order to save that program. On the DOE side, that money, the funding was stimulus money, and it was sunsetted. So we know it was going to expire. But the mayor stepped in, and now we are working in full force to land that program and to continue and just working with our providers to just that amazing 6 weeks of the summer, just enjoying enrichment programs, arts, and trips and all over the city. I really want to make sure that the board has an opportunities to visit some of these summer rising locations and talk with the providers that are running those summer camps, so that you can see exactly what I see when I actually go and visit those programs. I think it would be a very rewarding experience. Yeah. So I think that's roughly about it. Those are the two programs that are signature programs that's rolling out. And if anyone has any questions about anything else, I am here to answer. Yes, sir.
So we've been pushing at ACS to get a more integrated continuum of services between us and other agencies. For example, HRA has Business Link. They provide job and placement services, so we make referrals straight from 25 foster care agencies to them. Same with SBS and its community partner program. We've been working with DYCD. We have subcontracts with the door, we're dancing, and so on and so on. What I think is missing that we probably could use your level of support on is being able to allow the foster care system to leverage like SYEP programming, so it happens within each foster care agency. So in other words, the foster care agency has through Pinkerton, we created a mentored internship program. That internship program gets funded by YPP or some funds through HRA. But if we could utilize SYEP funds for that in the summer, and then work on and grow in the winter, SYEP can happen in all 25 foster care agencies in the summer, in the winter, and those agencies would be work sites partnering with the DYCD contractor providers, right? And so I think like a lot of our providers now are kind of, for 3 years we've been training them through the Workforce Professional Training Institute on how to become mentors, how to set up work sites within their finance department, with the CEOs, and our Commissioner Jess pushes the CEOs to take on the kid, right? And so I think we were holding hands a little tighter with DYCD. We can make that push with our providers a little more substantive, right? And we have other supports like our Fair Futures program, right, that can help those young people get coached, like every coach will be set up with them. So that's something that we can expand to the DYCD contractors, because if they have a young person who's triggered for trauma, comes in and has, an emotional breakdown, the kind of SEL that the coach can provide can help make that learning moment for that young person more substantial, right? And maybe mimic for DYCD contractor providers who aren't familiar with trauma, right? How they can engage with young people to help them manage their behavior, think about de-escalation, things like that we see all the time in our system.
Raymond, I know you're aware, as you indicated before, we have an excellent partnership with ACS, right? And through our special employment initiative like emerging leaders, we actually have the highest level of placement with ACS and summer youth employment, where the community-based organizations that you described are actually employing some of our young people, and we're looking to increase it even more this year, and those special needs programs. We also have our initiative with your group homes, right? And the detention centers, in which we have project-based learning opportunities in which we fund young people in stipends to be able to work in those group settings and get paid for it. What we can look at is whether or not there exist any program gaps to increase more participation. But last year, I can honestly tell you, when it comes to Fair Future, when it comes to young people in housing development with NYCHA, when it comes to young people with disability, we have the largest investment in summer youth employment. These are the young people that actually don't even have to go through the lottery system. All they have to do is complete their application and submit their documentation, and we of course help them and guide them to that, and they are placed into jobs and job opportunities. We can give you last year numbers so we can break it down so everyone can see exactly what levels we're at and what levels we're going to move and increase as we push in our SYEP this year. One of the other highlights is SYEP Pride, where we identified young people self-identification of LGBTQ plus communities, and we have career explorations with Louis Vuitton, with Citibank, with Disney, New Amsterdam Theater. These organizations stepped up and created safe spaces for young people who identify themselves as LGBTQ plus, and I thought that was amazing. We had about 3,600 young kids working in those agencies or going through career exploration. So we're going to continue that as well. Microsoft and some of the tech companies stepped up this year, and we had more investment with young people there. The real estate board, New York's real estate board, also stepped up in many ways. So we had a lot of young people working with them as well. And there's a special push, Raymond, you know this, to concentrate on the 6th precinct with the highest level of gun violence. And we were working with the Cure Violence groups that we also fund to bring kids in. And again, another high level of investment. We had an overwhelming amount of young people who are in those communities register for jobs this past summer. We're looking to do the same thing. And with that targeted population, we actually did recruitment old school. So knocking on doors, okay, going to the community center, signing kids up on the spot. Yeah. And we're going to continue to do that. We talked last year about young people who are undocumented. We had a high level of young people in our special initiative of undocumented young people last year, and we're looking to increase it this year. as we all know, there's a federal law prevents you from going over a certain funding amount, a stipulation on stipends. But if you go over $600, I believe you got to report it to the IRS, right? So we have been working with the law department to find creative ways around that, and we're hoping with the law department that we'll be able to increase the wages for undocumented young people through our program with DOE, and I'm excited about that opportunity as well. So, a lot of things going on. But again, I would love to have the committee members and the subcommittees go out and visit some of the sites and ask the questions and see how the programs are running. Raymond, you have full access in the meeting and outside the meeting, you know that.
I just would thank you because last year we were given 1,000 slots, and I think we were allowed to enroll 1,200 last year, which was great. So, thank you.
No, I got your email, and I also got your commissioner email as well. And like I said, we're looking to build it up even more this year. Yeah. Again, focusing on the communities that we need to focus in on. Yeah. Communities with the most need. All right, I hand it back over to Jackie.
So much, Commissioner. Yeah. So actually, we could adjourn. Thank you so much for being here today. Eduardo will be following up with committee information and any questions you might have. And the executive committee will be meeting again in April. All right. Thanks.